Written in just 20 minutes, one song would not only help Toby Keith become well known, but also permanently define him as a symbol of American pride. Now, as we remember Toby Keith, who passed away earlier this year, we reflect on the incredible legacy he left behind. How can a basic melody so profoundly connect with millions of people that it serves as an anthem for a whole nation? With his passing earlier this year, we now look back at the struggles and triumphs that shaped his voice, his unwavering love for his nation, and how he became a lasting symbol of American patriotism. Let's explore how this Oklahoma native became the embodiment of American pride and what his legacy means to us now. Beginning on July 8, 1961 in Clinton, Oklahoma, a town that, like many in America's heartland, embodied the fundamental values of hard labor, community, and a deep-seated love for the nation. Toby Keith's story starts as Keith came from a working-class background, where daily lessons in resilience and determination were not only taught, but also experienced. Keith's life was much influenced by his father, a veteran of the United States Army, Hubert K. Covell. The foundation of Keith's identity was the values his father taught: respect the flag, honor for those who served, and a great gratitude for the liberties the United States grants. Growing up in Moore, Oklahoma, a small town where neighbors knew each other by name, Keith was steeped in an American culture that he had previously embraced. Independence Day was more than just a celebration. It was a deeply meaningful event observed with parades, fireworks, and community meetings, emphasizing what it meant to be American. For Keith, these holidays were more than just celebrations. They were a mirror of the patriotism he carried from infancy. Now, with Toby no longer with us, these early influences take on even greater significance as we reflect on the values that he carried throughout his life and career. Toby Keith was just another young man laboring in Oklahoma's oil fields before he became a household name. The oil fields were not for the timid. The hours were long, the work was demanding, and the surroundings were at times hostile. For Keith, however, it was a means to an end, a means of support for himself as he followed his actual love, music. His earnings from the oil fields let him invest in his musical dreams by touring local honky-tonks back then with his band Easy Money. Keith worked on his craft in the honky-tonks, night after night in the smoke-filled bars, where the customers were as wild and tumble as the oil fields themselves. These early gigs were absolutely vital in forming Keith's musical approach, which combined rock, traditional country, and a bit of the gritty realism he personally encountered. Later on, his raw, unpolished sound would become his trademark, resonating with working-class Americans who identified with his songs. Still, his road to fame wasn't easy. The oil business was contracting by the early 90s, so Toby was unemployed. Many would have given up, given a lack of consistent income and an uncertain future. Still, Keith's will was relentless. Knowing that music was his actual calling, he was ready to risk everything to realize it. With just a demo tape and a dream, he packed his bags and headed to Nashville, the epicenter of country music. Those early years, now seen through the lens of his passing, highlight the determination and grit that Toby carried with him until the end. Arriving in Nashville, Toby Keith soon found that the music business was difficult to break into. Nashville was a city full of talent, where everyone was chasing the same dream. Record companies told Keith his sound was too rough, too unpolished, or not commercial enough, and he was turned down one after the other. Keith was unconcerned, though. He kept penning songs, playing at little venues, and working on his voice. Though he faced plenty of rejection, the rejections also strengthened his will. He knew his music had something unique, an authenticity and grit that distinguished him from the polished, radio-friendly country that ruled the airwaves at the time. He refused to sacrifice his style or bow to businessmen who didn't see his vision. After years of hard work and determination, Toby Keith finally got his big break in 1993. His self-titled debut album, which included the hit single Should Have Been a Cowboy, quickly swept the nation's music scene. Should Have Been a Cowboy evolved from a hit to an anthem. The song soared to the top of the charts and became the most played country song of the 90s, marking the beginning of Toby's incredible journey. In the early 2000s, Toby Keith's life and career turned. The September 11th terrorist attacks rocked the United States to its very foundation in 2001. For Keith, the 9/11 attack had a significant impact on him. He had lost his beloved father earlier that year. He was the man who had ingrained in him the respect for the military and patriotism. The personal loss combined with the national tragedy would have a big impact on his career. He wanted to use his music to express his feelings of love, anger, and grief for his nation. It was with those feelings in mind that Keith would go on to write his now iconic song, Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. Written in just 20 minutes, Toby perfectly summarized how America was feeling after those attacks. The song reflected the anger and determination of a nation under attack. Keith's songs were bold, direct, and uncompromising. Still, back then there was debate about the song's release. Initially hesitant, Keith's label worried that the song's forceful tone would offend listeners or possibly cause political unrest. Keith, however, insisted strongly. He considered the song a tribute to his father and the military, as well as a required expression of national sentiment. Finally published in 2002, Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue became an instant hit, appealing to millions of Americans who thought of it as a call to arms for unity against adversity. The song was a massive hit for Toby Keith, played at military events, national patriotic celebrations, and radio stations all around the country. The song soon became the anthem of American resiliency in the wake of 9/11. For many, it was more than just a song. It was a tribute to the men and women who served in the military and a declaration of national will, especially for those who had served in the military or those personally impacted by the 9/11 attacks. Keith's unapologetic patriotism truly spoke to Americans. Beyond the country music scene, the song's appeal attracted listeners who might not usually listen to country, but who related to its message of strength and defiance. Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue had a significant impact. For many, it served as a reminder of the sacrifices made by the military and the need to stand together against adversity. Now, as we remember Toby, the impact of this song feels even more significant. It's not just a piece of music, it's part of Toby's legacy, a legacy that continues to inspire and unite Americans, even after his passing. Riding the massive wave of success from Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, Toby Keith would continue writing songs honoring the military and celebrating American values. In 2003, he debuted American Soldier, a poignant ballad honoring the men and women who served in the armed forces. Reaching the top of the national charts, the song was another huge hit. As we look back now, American Soldier feels like a powerful tribute to the troops, one that we cherish even more in Toby's absence. For Keith, who had long been a supporter of the military, American Soldier was a very personal song, rather than only a commercial success. Listeners all around the nation connected with the song's lyrics, which addressed the challenges and sacrifices of military life. For those serving abroad and their families back home, it became their anthem, providing comfort and pride in equal measure. After American Soldier, Keith debuted Beer for My Horses, a duet featuring the iconic Willie Nelson. The song rose to become one of the longest-running #1 hits on the national charts. Just another example of Toby Keith's innate ability to connect with a large audience. Toby Keith's patriotic music somehow also drew criticism, as well as its breakout popularity. In the early 2000s, he became embroiled in a highly publicized feud with the Dixie Chicks. Lead singer Natalie Maines made a controversial comment in 2003, criticizing then-President George W. Bush in the Iraq War. Toby Keith would publicly call out Maines, which led to a well-publicized conflict between the two musicians, with Maines famously wearing a t-shirt that said FUTK during a concert, taken as a jab at Keith. But Keith would never back down in the face of criticism. He defended his music as a mirror of his love for the nation and personal values. For Keith, patriotism was a very personal conviction, anchored in his upbringing and family values, not a political statement. His songs were expressions of the thanks for the liberties the military men and women defended and tributes to them. Today, with Toby no longer here, his music speaks even louder, reminding us of the values he held dear. Apart from his songs, Toby Keith has made major contributions by means of his charity, especially for military families and children. He started the Toby Keith Foundation in 2006, as a nonprofit aimed at supporting cancer-stricken children. The flagship project of the foundation, the cost-free, modern house known as the OK Kids Corral, allows cancer patients and their families to stay in Oklahoma City while undergoing treatment. Opening in 2013, the facility offers families a warm, encouraging space during what is usually the most difficult period of their lives. Keith's commitment to giving back transcends the Toby Keith Foundation. Using his position to increase awareness and money for different veterans organizations, he's also been a relentless champion of military families. Millions of dollars for the OK Kids Corral have come from his annual Toby Keith and Friends Golf Classic, and his dedication to helping those who serve has brought him many accolades, including the Spirit of the USO Award and the Military Order of the Purple Heart. Now, with Toby gone, his foundation stands as a lasting testament to his generosity and the impact he made on the lives of so many. With over 40 million albums sold, many honors, and a run of hits that have become anthems for a generation, Keith has established himself as among the most successful and enduring performers in country music history. From his humble beginnings in Oklahoma to the world stage, Toby Keith remained true to his roots, using his music to express his love for America and its values. Through songs like Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue and American Soldier, he became a voice for those who serve and a symbol of patriotism for millions of Americans. With his passing earlier this year, his legacy looms even larger, reminding us that country music isn't just about heartbreak and honky-tonks. It's about the heart of a nation. Toby Keith may no longer be with us, but his music continues to resonate, a powerful reminder of the values he cherished and the pride he took in being an American. As we reflect on his life and career, it's clear that Toby Keith isn't just a country music star. He was an American icon whose legacy will continue to resonate for generations to come. If you like this deep dive into the life and legacy of Toby Keith, be sure to subscribe with notifications on for the latest news and updates from CountryCast.